Welcome everyone to another startup and complete car documentation. What we're looking at today is a 2018 Chevrolet Traverse High Country. This Traverse is painted in mosaic black metallic. Chrome door handles, smart key access on all four doors. On the key fob, you have the buttons for lock, unlock, remote start, tailgate release, and panic. It does have a premium Bose sound system. On the front door panels we have storage. On the driver's one you can also pop open the power tailgate from here and adjust how far it opens. Power windows, locks, and mirrors, along with two-person memory settings for the driver's seat. The High Country has a two-tone loft brown and jet black interior with premium perforated leather seats. Both front seats are fully powered with two-way power lumbar. And now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine. It does have push-button ignition. The Traverse is Chevy's entry in the midsize three-row crossover segment, targeting rivals like the Honda Pilot and Toyota Highlander. It is the largest crossover in Chevy's lineup, slotting it just below the full-size body-on-frame Tahoe. The Traverse made its debut for the 2009 model year, serving as a replacement for the Uplander minivan, and as of the 2024 model year, it is now entering a third generation. That makes this 2018 model we have today part of the second generation Traverse, which was produced for model years 2018 through 2023. It was all new for 2018, riding on a new platform and offering even more space than its predecessor. It utilizes GM's C2XX platform, which is also used by the second-gen GMC Acadia and second-gen Buick Enclave. Although the first-gen Traverse, Enclave, and Acadia were mechanically identical, once they were redesigned and switched from the Lambda to the C1XX platform in 2017 and 2018, the second-gen Acadia actually got a shorter wheelbase compared to the second-gen Traverse and Enclave, interestingly enough, making the Acadia a bit smaller on the inside than its Chevy and Buick brethren. For 2022, the second-gen Chevy Traverse got a mid-cycle facelift, which freshened up the front-end styling a bit, as well as added some more standard safety and tech features. But that of course makes this 2018 a pre-facelift model. As for trim levels for the 2018 model year US market Chevy Traverse, you had the base L, followed by LS, LT Cloth, LT Leather, RS, Premier, and finally the range-topping High Country like we have here. As for engines, two were offered that year. Most trims got a 310 horsepower 3.6-liter V6. The RS, however, got a 2-liter turbo inline-4, and despite being such a small engine for such a big vehicle, that thing made over 250 horsepower and close to 300 pound-feet of torque, more torque than the V6. The V6, however, could tow much more. The sole transmission across the range was a 9-speed automatic, and your drivetrain options were either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Most trims could be had with either, but the RS 4-cylinder models were front-wheel drive only, and High Countries were all-wheel drive only. Starting with the instrument cluster, we have 4 analog gauges, your tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge, and temperature gauge, and the rest is a digital info display which can be gone through via these buttons on the steering wheel. So you have main menus and sub-menus. This one's info, which is the most comprehensive. Trip computers, fuel info, oil life, tire pressure, that kind of stuff. Then you also have your audio, phone, navigation options, sub-menus. It has a 4-spoke design, heated, leather-wrapped, multifunctional steering wheel. As for controls, first on the front of the spokes, you have your cruise controls on this side along with your gap adjust and that heated steering wheel toggle button. Then on this side you have your information display controls along with the buttons for your Bluetooth and voice commands. Then on the back of the spokes you have your audio controls. The steering wheel is power, tilt, and telescopic. Panel dimmer, fog lights, headlight switch, climate vent for the driver. On this side is your high beam and turn signal stalk. And on this side is your wiper stalk. Going down the center of the interior, we have a speaker up top, the touchscreen interface for your MyLink infotainment system, we'll go over that more in a bit, central climate vents, hazards. The screen itself, you can actually move out of the way, reveal some storage along with the USB-A port, some physical radio and infotainment controls. You have a front set of dual zone automatic climate controls. All the controls for that are here. And you also have 3-stage heated and cooled front seats. You have a 12-volt power outlet, 2 USB-A ports, an aux port, and a wireless charging pad. You have 2 cup holders. Going in reverse, does reveal a backup camera with guidance lines along with an overhead camera. Pushing camera right here reveals that you also have a front camera. The parking brake is electronically operated. You have the buttons to toggle your traction control and lane keep assist, and right here is your drive mode selector. Your modes are 2-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, off-road, and tow haul. Center console with a removable tray. Both Sunvisors have vanity mirrors and lights. And you also have a rear camera mirror. On the overhead console, you got your OnStar, passenger airbag indicator, overhead lighting, and the controls for your power dual pane sunroof. In addition to garage home link. The front passenger and second row passengers do get grab handles. Finally, here's that MyLink infotainment system. First we'll go to audio. We have AM, FM, and Sirius XM. Pair of phone, got screen projection, have navigation. Can control the rear zone climate from here. The cameras, then local weather for local weather traffic for your SiriusXM Traveling subscription. If you have that, you have apps, and then your iHeart Radio, various other stuff like that. But it's a pretty simple, straightforward system to use. But now we'll go ahead and roll down the driver's window and take a look at the engine bay. All 4 windows are automatic down, and the driver's one is automatic up as well. The Traverse High Country gets these 20-inch 5-split-spoke polished alloy rims. Powering the Traverse High Country is a 3.6-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine. It has an aluminum block with aluminum heads, along with dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, direct injection, and variable valve timing. Horsepower is rated at 310 at 6,800 RPM, while torque is rated at 266 pound-feet at 2,800 RPM. The transmission is a 9-speed automatic with manual shiftability, and standard on high country models is an all-wheel drive system. Running on regular unleaded with a 21.7-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates for a Traverse like this one are 17 mpg in the city and 25 mpg on the highway. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. Stopping the Traverse are 4-wheel disc brakes, and when properly equipped, a V6 Traverse can tow up to 5,000 pounds. The fuel door, as you saw earlier, is on the driver's side. Roof racks. Storage bottle holders in the back door panels. I like this addition of the Alcantara. Makes it that much more premium feeling. Captain's chairs. First we'll hop in the third row. Alright, we're in the third row of the Traverse. Third row passengers do get cup holders, USB-A ports on either side, as well as their own overhead climate vents. But space back here, I'm about 6'1", and it's not that spacious. Headroom is actually good, but legroom is going to be the hardest part. It's a pretty tight squeeze back here. I suppose I could ride back here on shorter trips, but the third row in this thing is going to be the most comfortable for kids. If you want a larger third row seat, maybe a Tahoe or something bigger like that, those tend to have a little bit more roomy third rows than these crossovers. But for what it is pretty usable. I gotta say, I've always loved these brown saddle-colored interiors. Ford King Ranch, Ram, Longhorn, Chevy High Country. I've always absolutely loved it. Let's open that vent back here. But anyways, mat pockets on both front seats. Rear passengers do get, or second row passengers do get folding armrests on the captain's chairs, some storage, a household style power outlet, along with 2 USB-A ports. But then we also get our own separate set of climate controls, as well as 3-stage heated second row captain's chairs. In addition to those climate vents. Now, with the second row captain's chairs, it's really nice. You know, the lever you use to fold them, you can also use to recline them. You can slide them back and forth. Of course, the further back you have it, the less space the third row passengers get, but as a second row passenger, having those adjustments plus the heating makes it a very upscale, nice place to be. But it's what you'd expect from the top of the line high country trim level. So this is like Chevy's high country is pretty much like the equivalent of GMC's Denali No problem at all. Legroom, headroom, excellent for second row passengers. Dual exhaust, rear wiper, and this High Country does have a power tailgate. Cargo space in the Traverse is 23 cubic feet with all the seats up, 58.1 cubic feet with the third row folded down, and finally 98.2 cubic feet with both the second and third rows folded down. And the third row you can just fold down with these. It actually goes down pretty fast. I know some of them you're like standing here holding the button for 30 seconds. These are actually pretty fast for power ones. Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2018 Chevrolet Traverse. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.